Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Down Low. I'm Mike Dorezzo. With me, as always, is my buddy Joe Lowe. Say hello, Joe.
Hello.
Hello. So, Joel, it's episode 20. Can you believe
Ooh,
that we've actually spent time 20 weeks, give or take, on creating 20 weeks of content. So today we're gonna get back to our roots. We're gonna break down some security questions and things and challenges that are topical. And this
right.
week we're going to go back to talking about things that are important and sharing with your family and friends and your loved ones.
Right.
Joel, you why don't you start us off? You brought this up and it was important to you. Um, Elder fraud.
Right. So first 20, happy 20
Yeah, happy
to you,
20
Mike. Hey, we made it. Woohoo. Um, so let's
on a
talk about
completely
elder
free
fraud.
podcast.
Oh no, completely free. We made it. A semi.
Semi.
Elder fraud is a big thing now, right? So we have aging parents, baby boomers are getting older, and what we're finding out is that people are taking advantage of elderly people
Right.
and their non-knowledge of technology, right?
Right.
So we see this a lot. And there's been tons of stories on local news and even on the national news where um, elderly people are getting text messages or phone calls stating something, right? Hey, this is your bank account. This is, PayPal, or this is Amazon. And we need to get some additional information from you. And they're filling this stuff out. And they're
Yeah.
calling these people, or they're clicking on the links, and they're giving them access to their money, right? I've even seen elderly people go to a store, buy gift cards, scratch the back, take a picture of it, and send it to said company, right? Because that's what they wanted for payment, which makes no sense at all, right?
Right.
And then once they get this picture, the money is gone, right? And
Yeah.
there's nothing you can do about it. So my thing is just being vigilant, right?
Yeah.
Making sure that we watch and ask your elderly people, and even you, our older family members, questions, right? And educate them on, hey, mom, dad, uncle, auntie, do not respond to these certain things. Do not give
Right.
out certain information. Even if they call, like we get phone calls, right? Where they'll call and say, hey, your car warranty. Your your file just came
Oh,
across my desk, and
yeah.
we need it's always
we've
just
been
came across the desk, right?
we've been
I'm
trying
trying
to
to get in
reach you
touch.
about your car warranty. Yeah. Oh,
And I'm always like, yo, my car warranty is good. Like,
yeah.
like it takes you a second. Then you're like, you tried to get
Wait
me.
a minute. Yeah, yeah,
I saw what you tried to do.
yeah,
No, right? So,
yeah.
um, but for somebody else who's like, oh, my car warranty is going out, because maybe it is perfect timing.
Right.
So you now this person jumps on and like, hey, we're from such and such company. We want to make sure that your car is good. And you know what? My car is having starting to have some issues, getting older. I do want to get a warranty. Well, we
Mhm.
just need to get your banking and routing number and just get you to approve this transaction. And you're like, oh,
Right.
okay. And then
Yeah.
they'll help you. They will help you. Hey, let me show you where your checkbook is.
They're
Or
very
this is how
nice.
you this is how you go online
Yeah.
to find your routing number if you don't have your checkbook.
Yeah.
Oh, you're so nice. Thank you.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, your account is empty. How
Right.
did that happen? How
I
did
only
how,
authorized $25. Yeah.
right? How did all my money get gone? And
Yeah.
then when you call the bank says, "Well, you authorized this transaction on
Right.
this date for this amount of money." You're like, "No, I didn't." And the fact that you were tricked, right,
Yeah.
does not change the facts that you authorized it. So to
Yeah.
the bank, you gave them access to your account. So there's nothing we can do about it,
Yeah.
right? Which then you just lost this money, because it's not enough for the federal government or the FBI to get involved, right? It doesn't hit that dollar amount, which is a lot. Even for a
Right.
company, it has to be
Yeah.
like a huge number for them to even pick up the case. I
Yeah.
promise you,
Yeah.
right? Like I've seen companies lose $1 million, and they're just like, you need to write that off. That's bad. Right? You're just like,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I've seen this for elderly people. I've seen it for companies as well. Like
Yeah.
I worked for a company where somebody pretended they were, the construction company that was building a section for this new campus, and said, "Hey, we have a new routing number and checking account, and we want it wired here, right when you send your payment." Right, and they spoofed the whole email.
Yeah.
Right, so what did they do? Instead of checking, they sent the wired money
Yeah.
to for the payment of $1 million. And then when the company, right, a month and a half later, called because they hadn't received their payment, they were like, "Well, what are you talking about? We sent it to you to the new routing number, the new checking account." No, no, we don't have a new one. We didn't change that.
Yeah.
So then it's Joel, come here. What do we do? And I'm like, well, first of all, it's been a month and a half, right? Like, two, we need to put some more controls in place to stop from
Yeah.
allowing somebody to make that one decision by themselves, right?
Yeah. At that
Um,
amount,
and,
right?
and three, we need to write that off. I mean, hey, y'all don't have to write another check because that
Yeah.
one's done, right? Because
Yeah.
that by the time they even look at that account, it's already been shut down. The money's been transferred 3, 4 times,
Gone. Yeah.
and it's gone. Right?
It's
Thank you.
cryptocurrency at that point, right?
Oh, it's
Yeah.
completely gone. So my thing is just being smart, right? You know, what I mean, you were talking about various different things from the phone calls you get to the text messages you get. I think you're telling about some of the text messages you get,
Oh, they're awful. Yeah, they're
right?
just they're very like, whoa, lonely girls, and you're like, no. I like I said,
Right,
I just took a shower this morning. I know what I look like.
right,
Lonely girls are
right.
not waiting on me.
Lonely girls are not looking
And
for me.
they're not looking. Then I trust and believe they stop. I don't even think they ever looked for me really. But yeah, you just get it, and the easy thing about it is that they can send so many of these emails and text messages and things like that. The technology to fire this across all of the heavens and hit people is just crazy. And at this point, we're 15 years into 10 years into the mega breaches, right? Where
Hmm.
250,000 records, anything north of 10,000 records is a big deal, right?
Right.
And they're, Yahoo and, oh man, people who have Yahoo accounts, I'm like, please just get another account. You can keep this one, but
Right.
please tell me that your credit cards and banking information aren't tied to this. Um, but it's so easy to do, and yeah, so SMS or smishing is basically phishing emails on text messages, right?
Right.
So click here for this link. Hey, your FedEx package is delayed. Click on this link. You're like, I didn't order anything. And I keep my FedEx text messages and it just adds to it so I know it's legit or not. Because
Right.
FedEx always sends from the same number. Now, at some point, that's going to get me too, because you can send text messages as somebody else.
You can
I
spoof the
know that
number.
sounds crazy. Yeah, you could
Right.
spoof the
Spoof
number.
it. Hmm.
So, it's you got to be careful, right? And it's especially around the holidays, like Christmas time when you're just ordering things offline left and right, it gets even worse. It's anytime after October, like I'm grateful that October is security awareness month because
Right.
it does set you up for the holidays.
It does.
But yeah, it's the text messages are hard, and now in the last few years we've seen the pop-up windows, right? Where, hey, we found a virus on your computer. And you're like, whoa, okay. And
Right.
it's like, call this number to remove it. And you're like, wow, that's really nice of you for telling me I have a virus on my computer and offering to help me. And you call the number and they're saying, yeah, so apparently our software detected something. If you give us money, we can clean it off for you. You give
Right.
them money. So number one, you give them money, and number two, you give them access to your computer remotely without knowing who these people are. You don't have a contract with them. You don't have an agreement
Right.
with them, and they're
Right.
literally transferring files to your computer and setting up software programs. Like, well, I'm installing this application so that it can clean the virus out. You're like, okay,
Right. Yeah.
um, and it happens. It's pretty. If you don't know what it is, and you're just, you don't even need to go on bad sites, right? You can go on any sites, and malvertisement, which is basically malware posing as advertisement, can just hit your computer, and if you
Right.
click on these pop-ups, or you don't have a pop-up blocker in place, you'll just suspect that you got hit, and if you
Right.
don't know any better, you'll click on these. And I think you said it. they're the nicest people. Right? You're like, oh, well, let's go get your checkbook. Yeah. So the number I'm looking for is that first number. Do you
Hmm.
like cats? I like cats. It sounds like you have a cat in the
Oh,
background,
right.
and they're the nicest. I've dealt with a few of them, and you're like, just to see how far they go. And I gave them access to a test computer just to see how far it would go. And they're fast internet connections. They're sending files to your computer, and you're like,
Oh yeah, they
dang.
move.
Yeah, they
They
move
move
pretty quickly as they're
because it's
talking
all
to
about
you.
right.
Yeah,
It's all about speed, right? As soon as I can get that money from you, I've won. They can't let time is their enemy, right?
one
So
it's
everything is boop 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 boop. Go ahead.
and it's not just the money. Like they're putting stuff on your computer to
Oh yeah, yeah.
harvest stuff later. The keyloggers and
You can be a botnet.
all a keylogger is just it collects all of your keyboard strokes,
Yeah,
username, password, everything in there. It collects all that and sends it somewhere or stores it so you can retrieve it later on. But
that
yeah, it's
invasion, right?
it's
Think
awful.
about that. Everything you're typing, somebody can see that, right?
Yeah,
That's terrible, right?
yeah,
Or the fact of like now they might have put something into your computer where they can cut your camera on and you not know it, right?
right, right,
Right. So depending on where you keep your computer and what you're doing, that could be something voyeur,
right.
right?
Yeah,
So there's a lot to that, right? And not to scare you, and that's not the purpose of this
no,
conversation. It is really just to make sure you understand that there's a lot that can go on, right? And be mindful, right?
no,
And everybody that's trying to help you is not trying to help you, right?
no,
And the thing is, you should never give up certain information, right? Nobody should call you and ask for your password, right?
right.
Hey, this is your bank. Just want to make sure we got the right password. Hey, could you give it to me? No. Oh,
Yeah.
why? Why do you need that? No. Mm-mm,
Yeah.
sure
Well,
can't.
and I was telling you before, it's not that like when I did this for a living for social engineering, it was I would set up this whole elaborate scenario, and
Mhm.
I would say, okay, well, we detected an issue from your computer on the network. Let's go ahead and take a look. I'm going to log in as myself. Okay. I don't really see anything. Are you seeing any messages pop up on your screen? Well, I haven't seen anything lately, or no, I don't see anything at all. You're like, okay, well, that's weird. I'm going to try logging in as you now. And let's see if I see something different. Maybe there's behavior that's attached to your username.
Right.
Okay, let's see here. I've got your username as this. Oh, no. I'm Mike D1 at
Mm.
company.org. And you're like, oh, okay.
We
Let me
use
check
one
the logs again.
sometimes.
Maybe I maybe have the wrong person. No. It is this. Okay. All right.
Mhm.
All right. And this is the password I have for you. No, that's not my password. Here's my
Yeah.
password. Oh, thanks.
Okay. Hey.
Okay. Hey, okay. All right. Great. You know what? I'll take it from here. I'll see things on my end to see what I can do here. Hey, great. Hey, if you have any problems, feel free to call the support desk. If you have any issues, should be a couple hours. You probably won't see or hear
Right.
anything from me, but if you run into stuff tomorrow or the next day, just let me know at the support desk,
Right.
and that's
And
it.
they may give you the right number for the support desk, right?
Oh yeah,
That's how good they are. They may give you your actual company support desk, right?
yeah,
Just to end the con, right? It's crazy. So then you feel even comfortable because you're like, oh, I know that's the right number.
right.
Or when you call, actually somebody from your company picks up and you're like, well, okay, they did just, but no, they've taken advantage of the fact of you feel urged to do something, right? There's
Yeah,
an urgency,
yeah,
right? Hey, you have a virus, you need to do this. Hey, this money's about to be transferred out your account. Hey, so we got to stop that urgency feel is how
right.
they manipulate and take advantage of you.
Yeah,
Hey, and what you have to do is slow down,
right.
right?
I
No,
saw
that money's
something
not
bad happen on your computer. Whoa, whoa. Yeah, it's impacting the rest of the network. Whoa. That's on my computer? Like, yeah,
right.
unfortunately, don't worry about it. Happens all the time. We just need to take care of it really quickly.
Mm,
And hopefully we can stop this pretty quickly with your help. Oh,
right.
okay. And
Huh,
it's to your point, it's a mixture of, hey, I have a sense of urgency that I'm injecting into you artificially, and then
right.
I'm pulling off like, but I'm offering that salvation, right?
Right.
Um,
Right.
it's just it's always dirty. Like whenever I used to do it for companies, it was always dirty. Like you just feel like you felt that when it was physical, especially like the physical pen tests where we'd break into places. Like you take advantage of these people, and I have them on camera. Like I wear a hidden camera either on my bag or on my person or
Right,
whatever
right.
else, and like they're, oh yeah, let me give you a tour.
Hey,
Have you been here
so
before? It's been a while. Yeah, give me a
it's
tour around
been
the
a
place.
minute. Yeah, I
Throw
saw
in
this
USB drive.
security video about physical security, and it
Mhm.
was these group of people who wanted to break in and steal something out of the data center. So they're
Okay.
all kind of like this Ocean's 11 kind of having this conversation. They're like, well, they have the front desk person is vigilant, so we got to get past them. So like, okay,
Yeah.
well, we're gonna put a box in front of them. You walk behind it. Okay, cool. And then they're like, they have retinal vision to get through the door. So how are we going to get through that? So they're like, we're going to do this here. Then they're like, okay, well, how do we get into the data center? And they're like, because it has a 3 code combination. And they're like,
Right.
we're gonna figure this out. So they have this whole plan. So they walk up. The woman at the front desk is on the phone, right?
Right.
So they just walk by her and they're like, okay. Then for the retinal vision, somebody's coming out and they hold the door for them, and they're like,
Right. Right.
well, thank you, right? And then they get to the data center where they need to put in the punch combination, and somebody had it propped open. So
Yeah.
they were just like,
Yeah. Yeah.
oh, so, okay. And
What's
literally,
going
so
on here?
all of the security that was put in place was
It's
top notch,
compromised.
but all of it was compromised, right?
Yeah.
So I always say to people, especially from a physical security, and we'll get back to elder as well, is you can have the best alarm system and the best locks on your doors, right? But if your 9-year-old comes and unlocks the door, right, and takes the alarm off, right,
Right. You're
then
done.
what good is that system? So we have to trust the people that we trust, right,
Yeah.
and educate them, right? So going back to education, make sure that you're educating not only yourself but your family members, right? And that can
Yeah.
go for older or younger, right? I
Yeah.
saw a story where a kid got on his mom's phone looking at a video, ended up ordering like 1,000 cheeseburgers from McDonald's, 1,000, and they were delivered, right? So uh, how do you have your payment stuff set up, right?
Right.
From your Instacart to DoorDash, whatnot, and do you have it where you have to authenticate, or did you save your credit card information? Because it's convenient, right?
Right.
And you don't have to put any kind of password to or the last three of the CVV
To unlock it. Yeah.
to unlock it, right? And if that's not the way it's set up, then you need to look at that, right? It should
Right.
be another step before that order happens,
Yeah.
right? But if you can just automatic from a convenience standpoint, just buy it, right? What if your kid buys 1,000 cheeseburgers
Right.
from McDonald's? Because guess
What are
what?
you gonna do?
McDonald's didn't give her money back, right? She credit card company didn't give her money back. The
Right.
bank didn't give her money. You just got 1,000 cheeseburgers. Congratulations.
What's the there's a button that Amazon sells, so you can have a refill button. I've never,
Yeah,
I've
right.
always wanted to do it because you're
Subscription,
like,
right,
oh,
right.
I'm running low on this. Let me hit that button.
Buy
Like,
now,
yeah,
right?
yeah. I'm sure nowadays they're like, if you order more than one or more than two, we don't allow more than two to be ordered at any given time.
I would hope
But
so, but who knows?
who knows?
Just
Jeff Bezos, call me, call me. We need to talk about that.
I remember my daughter when she was younger, she had the phone and she was playing a game and another game
Mhm.
popped up as a commercial. So she
Yeah.
pushed it and wanted to add it, but of course I had security on it. She's like, Daddy, can you approve this? And I was like, prove what? Like, what are you doing? And then I looked and I was like, no, like, no, what did you do? How'd you get here? No, and I mean,
Right.
like, she was deep in the matrix. I was like, no,
Yeah.
back out. No, 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 no. So again, healthy caution, healthy
Yeah.
security. Um, put things in place. Don't
Yeah.
Convenience is not always good. Convenience and
Right.
security don't go hand in hand.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
don't go hand in hand. Put that on a shirt.
The, the, the con has changed. The con hasn't changed much, right? The
Mm-mm.
methodology of how they do these things hasn't changed in
Right.
hundreds of years, right? At the end of the day, we when you're walking the streets and somebody's like, "Hey, buddy, have I got a deal for you on a nice watch?" You're like, I've seen this in a movie from 50
Mm-mm.
years ago. It's the same con. It's just
Right.
some things have changed. The technology's changed. We just we need to be aware, right, of this. If it's too good to be true, it's too good to be
It
true.
is.
So Joel, let's
Takeaways?
yeah, let's talk takeaways.
Yeah.
Let's wrap this up and everything. Um, I liked your one about be suspicious of anybody asking for sensitive information. I told you about this. I have a pharmacy call me and they're like, "Hey, Mr. Teresa, we want to refill your prescription, but before to do this, we need a bunch of sensitive information." And I'm like, "Yeah, no, I'm not doing that. You guys do this to me all the time. Like, I do this for a living. I'm not giving you
Right.
my birth date. I'm not giving you my social security number. I'm not giving you my address. You have all this on file. You called my
Right.
cell phone. I'll call you back." And
Right.
yeah, it's annoying to them. Yeah, it's annoying to me. It's annoying to everybody. But at the end of the day, it just takes one time, right? It used to be a cop only needs to be lucky once to catch you. A criminal needs to be lucky all the time to get away
Right.
with a crime, right?
Right.
It's the opposite now
Right.
with technology. We as the policing forces need to be lucky and aware and on our game all day
All
long,
the
all the
time.
time.
Mhm.
A criminal only needs to get lucky once, right? They
Right.
only need to be successful one time, and
Right.
they have what they need, and they move on to the next victim. So be suspicious of anybody asking you for your passwords or things like that. Joe, what do you have? I think I took yours.
So
But what do
so
you
my
have?
thing was don't be too pushy, right? Like if you find
Right,
somebody that calls and they're real pushy about, hey, you must do this, you have to do that. Be cautious or overly friendly, right? Like
right,
either one, right? I
yeah,
want down the middle, right? I want to be like, hey, this is important, but hey, be nice as well. But if
right,
you find somebody that's being overly pushy or overly too nice, right? Be sensitive. Have your radar go off. Have your
right,
antennas up, right? Um, ask certain questions, right? And then if it gets to a point where you still don't trust it,
yeah,
hang up and call back. So one of the things Mike said was, "Hey, I call my pharmacy back, right,
right.
on a trusted number that I have, right? So don't make
That I
the
find.
that
Yes.
you find, right?
Not that
Don't
they give
don't do
you.
Right. So they're so smooth that they'll say, you know what, you should call us back. Here's the number, right? And you're like, oh, that's so convenient. Thank you,
Yeah.
right?
Here's my
And
burner
then
phone number. I'll give you my
and
direct
then you
line.
call them back and they pick up saying the same thing. Hey, this is Pharmacy X. And you're like, oh, it is Pharmacy X. Okay. Hey, somebody just called me. Yes, yes. I'm glad you called. You never can be too safe. Now give me all your money. Okay, right? And you're like, when you finally realize that all your money's gone, you're like, well, I followed directions. I
Right.
called them
Yeah,
back.
you did. Yeah.
What number did you call? The number they gave me. Mm,
Yeah, it's like when somebody's that pushy or something like that, that's not their job, right? Like
right,
like
right,
I told somebody like, "Well, how much is enough?" And they're like, "If they're that pushy, like you're not that pushy when it's your job." Right?
right,
And it's
right.
not that I need the apathy of a DMV employee. Just kidding for any of the DMV employees out there.
I'm
But
not.
I
I'm not.
do need easy. I I need that balance of
Right,
hey, this is important for the company, not really to me. I'm
right.
just trying to do my job here, and you're like,
Just doing
oh,
my
okay,
job.
just doing
Yeah,
my job, man.
just doing my
Um,
job.
I we talked about social media a few episodes back.
We did.
And when we talk about social engineering and things like that, it's hard to remember, but you put a lot of this information on social media if you're not careful. So there's two lessons here. One, be careful what you put on social media, and check and make sure that your settings in social media are appropriate, right?
Correct.
And if you don't know, ask somebody for help. There are websites out there that tell you, and Facebook or Meta, as they're known now, has a nice page to explain what their privacy settings are. Um, Set them with a certain degree of paranoia, right? You don't
Right,
want your information open to the world. You don't
right,
want that to be harvested. I'll give you an example. Like I would do discussions on penetration testing at conferences, and we'd walk people through it, and I was like, okay, um, you know, uh, does your mother have a brother? Yeah, I've got an uncle. You're like, okay, what's his last name? And now you have your mother's maiden name.
hmm
Or
hmm
hey, is your grandfather still alive? No, he passed away. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Was he a vet? And you're like, no, he wasn't. Oh, what was his name? and you give it to me like, well, now I have your paternal grandfather or maternal grandfather's name, and things like, hey, where'd you go to high school? You're like, oh, I went here. Like, oh, was that the Eagles? Or like, no, it was the Rams. You're like, thanks. These are all
Security questions.
security questions,
Right.
right? What was
Wait,
your school
what's your
mascot?
first car? What's your first car you owned? Right.
Right, man. I had a
What street you live on?
crappy car. I had a Chevy Spectrum. Do you remember those things?
Right.
What was your
Yeah.
car?
Oh yeah. I almost
Um,
answered.
yeah. And
Even now you can get me, people. You can still get me.
yeah.
Lord,
Well,
I'm
so
a
you know what I do,
professional.
Joel? I regardless of whatever question they're asking me, I don't give an answer to that, right? I don't answer the question. Now I write all this stuff down in my
Correct.
password manager. But
Yeah.
if it's like, hey, what was your first car? And you're like, blue. And you're like, okay,
Yeah.
where did you meet your spouse? Blue. Or orange. And you're like, well, you met them in Orange County? And you're like, no, I'm just not
No,
giving you an answer that you can look
just
up.
orange.
Orange,
Right.
marriage notices, right? Kids, there was something called a newspaper. Maybe by the time you're reading this, they'll be completely extinct. But you used to put marriage notices, right, in
Right.
in the
On film.
newspaper. Hey,
Right.
Mike and Jen met here, and you're like, oh, I could just Google
And
that
now
later on.
it's on microfilm. Right.
Microfilm, which is film plastic where images.
Yes, y'all. Kids look that up.
Oh, getting so
Microfilm.
old. Getting so old.
You just go to the
Um,
library. You can look at microfilm.
yeah,
I bet you don't even have that anymore.
microfiche, like your
Yes.
James Bond from the
Fiche.
70s. Fiche.
Hey, so my
Fiches.
thing is, on that same note with social media, there will be these little fun games that pop up, right?
Mhm.
How old are you? Do you remember this? Or
Yeah,
hey, what was your first car? And you put it,
right.
and you reminisce, right? Or what street did you live on? And you're like, oh, it's nothing. It's because all your friends are answering it, and they're
Yeah,
security questions, right?
yeah,
And next thing you know, you're like, huh? How did they get my password?
right,
How did
right.
like I've heard many people say, "Hey man, I'm locked out of my computer. I'm locked out of my social media network. So hey, I can't get into this feed anymore. For some reason, my password's been changed." Well, how did they do that? It's you
Right.
gave them the information to change your password. Hey, I
Yeah,
forgot. Here's the answers to the questions. Email it here,
yeah,
right? So they email the
yeah,
link there. They click on it. They fill out the new email. They now have access to your account.
yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
Right.
Two.
Now I can spam all of your friends and use you as the hopping point
Yeah.
to infect more people.
So you don't need to know what Disney princess you really are. It's in
Mm-mm.
your heart. You don't need to
It's in
answer
your
a
heart.
bunch of questions. It's in your
Mm-mm.
heart. Deep in your heart, you know,
Right.
you
They
know,
really
you know
can't
who you are.
predict what the next 5 years are gonna look like, right? You're not.
No,
It's not gonna be more money, cars, and a baby like you.
right.
No, it's
It's like
not.
those little paper things, the little paper. You remember the little paper things you
I
used to
do
do?
remember those. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I do
Uh,
remember.
th-
Yeah.
it, yeah.
We're dating ourselves. We're dating ourselves.
They're not going to be able to predict that for you.
Or
All right, Joel.
if you have a
Any
chance, look up 8 Ball, y'all. Remember the
8 ball,
8 Ball?
magic 8 ball,
Ah, the Magic
magic 8
8 Ball.
ball. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
Um, Joel, what any other thoughts or ideas?
No, I think we covered it.
I think we covered
Always
it.
knowing is half the battle. GI Joe. Hey,
What's the other half?
apply it. Knowledge is power. Now
Knowledge
apply
is
it.
power.
Right. Learn from it.
Knowledge is
Right.
half the battle. Knowing is half the battle. What's the other half?
What is the other half? Like I never, as a kid, asked that question. Like, huh? What
Yeah,
is the
I did, and then
what's
that's why I'm the
the
kind of person I am. The weirdo. The weirdo in the back of the room is like, question, what's the other half of that
what,
equation?
what is the other part of
Fucking
that?
weird kid in the
I,
background, the big
I'm just like,
head.
hey, get to He-Man, right? GI Joe went off. Get to
Ah,
He-Man. Let's go.
get to yeah, no one cares. You're only doing this because you're
Okay.
selling toys to us.
Right.
I watched that show on Netflix. Anyways, hey everyone, thanks for joining, getting to the end of this podcast. We really
Right.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
If you want, we are now on Apple Podcast. The down low, the little wolf and lion icon with the lock in the middle there. So if you see that, that's Joel and I. Um,
Yep.
if you like the content, please hit the like button. Let us know. Right at the end of the day, we need to know we're going the right direction and
Right.
helping out appropriately. If you want to know more about what we do here and the things, we're going to put out more content like this. Hit the subscribe button. Have any comments about what we talked about or have any questions, let us know in the comment section, whether in the LinkedIn or Facebook post or in the YouTube comment section. Just let us know. And
Right.
that once again, thanks again. Have a great summer, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye, everyone.